Good afternoon. Welcome to City News 24/7. I'm Faiza Amin. As negotiations continue in the trade war between Canada and the U.S., Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says our country remains in a strong bargaining position. Let's bring in Glen McGregor. So, Glen, the Prime Minister continuing with forceful talk about this trade situation. I'm watching you staying peeled to your phone because things seem to be changing.
Yeah, that's right. They're constantly changing. I'm just checking my phone. We learned just a few minutes ago from a post on Truth Social. That's Donald Trump's social media platform. He's writing that he is going to give a 30-day reprieve on tariffs to Mexico, based on his conversations with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. There had been speculation earlier today that this was going to apply to Canada as well. Trump saying he's going to put the reprieve in place for all exports that are covered by the USMCA agreement. That is the new NAFTA agreement that was signed, was negotiated back in 2018 at Donald Trump's insistence, signed ultimately in 2020 into law. Of course, covers Canada too, but we've not seen, this is the reason why I've been compulsively checking my phone to see if Trump has tweeted out something similar about Canada. So far, he hasn't. The only thing he said about Canada this morning was kind of taking some shots at Justin Trudeau based on their conversation yesterday, and Trump alleging that Trudeau is using the tariff dispute to extend and sustain his political career, saying he's going to run again for prime minister. That is, of course, utter, complete balderdash, just nonsense. Trudeau is leaving as prime minister on probably early next week, whenever the new prime minister, the winner of the Liberal leadership race, is announced on Sunday. That person is the next one to become prime minister, and Justin Trudeau will be ending his term after over 9 years. But let's listen into what Justin Trudeau said this morning about this ongoing trade dispute with the U.S.
We are in a moment right now where Canada has a very, very strong bargaining position because Canadians are so united and unequivocal about standing up for our country, standing up for our fellow citizens, and being very, very firm that this is an absolutely unjustified and unjustifiable trade war launched by the Americans, and that is what we're going to continue to stay true to.
Now, all this unfolding after that phone call, that lengthy phone call between Trudeau and Trump yesterday, about 50 minutes, according to reports. The U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance jumped on the call. So too did Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary. And it was, Trudeau described it in that press conference as a colorful phone call. He is being polite there. According to the Wall Street Journal, there was profanity exchanged between the leaders in that call. It got very testy at times, a very heated call. And then you see, well, read that against what's happening this morning. Trump deciding to grant this 30-day exemption to Mexico on these tariffs, but so far, at this hour, not doing the same for Canada. We'll see over the rest of the afternoon whether that changes, whether that will, the exemption will also be granted. Lutnick was on U.S. television this morning saying he thought it was likely this would happen, that both Canada and Mexico would get an exemption. Of course, this is coming after yesterday, the Trump administration deciding to grant a 30-day exemption for the auto sector because they were under a lot of pressure on the White House from the Detroit Big Three automakers, saying that these tariffs were going to lead to layoffs, massive losses of revenue very, very quickly because of how closely integrated the auto sector is between the three countries and how it depends on just-in-time delivery. Any interruption, any delay can lead to cancellation of worker shifts at any of the factories and ultimately potentially long-term job losses. So Trump kind of climbed down on that. There were reports out of D.C. last night. There was also going to be sector-specific exemptions in agriculture. This mostly affects Mexico because the U.S. buys enormous amounts of produce from Mexico, but it's also important for Western Canada, and Saskatchewan exports a lot of potash. Something on the order of 80% of the U.S. imports of potash come from Saskatchewan, and this would be felt, those tariffs would be felt really hard in red states in the United States, big farm communities, places like Nebraska, Omaha, Idaho, places like that, that all voted for Donald Trump. They would be very hard hit by those tariffs. So there was a suggestion there could be another sectoral carve-out, though. But the response from Justin Trudeau this morning and continuing into this afternoon is that Okay, they want to put sectoral carve-outs. That's fine. We are not going to back down on our counter tariffs of $155 billion of U.S. exports into Canada. That's not yet dollar for dollar. That's still another card the government has that it could play later. It could increase the amount of goods that are subject to tariffs. But it is clear the U.S., the Trump administration, is getting nervous about the effects on the stock market, the effects of inflation, the effects on jobs in the U.S., and they are starting to waver a little bit in their resolve to in this trade war with Canada. Liza.
All right, Glen McGregor in Ottawa. As always, thank you so much. We'll check in later on.
Thanks.